What's going on, y'all? We got some information here that's going to be interesting. This is about Sony and, of course, them continuing to embarrass Ubisoft by being much better villains and just, yeah, not in the right way, though. Okay, here it says Sony removes games from PlayStation Plus. I was actually going to talk about this yesterday, but I didn't get to it. As you see, this was June 26th. Even its own games, right? But you want to just keep jacking up the price of the subscription. To keep the proposition interesting, oh, shut the hell up. Just keep adding more games and help people find new games, says PlayStation executive. When I seen that too, I was like, see, that's the PR brainwashing that somebody would defend. And then think that you would be a fanboy on another platform because you're coming to call out the bullcrap. When all you're doing is just speaking the truth and pulling back the curtain and saying, nope, no, Mr. Wizard of Oz. And don't expect Sony to release first party games day one anytime soon. We talked about that. So what's funny is I ran into this first, right? But I'm glad I didn't do it because, guys, this is where it gets interesting. Like, comment, and subscribe. So are we ready? Now, let's go over it. Sony sued for abusing its dominant position in the console market. Boy, it led to something, didn't it? We're gonna backtrack too after this. Netherlands based nonprofit launches class action lawsuit. Pony, sit down. Let's see why. A Dutch class action lawsuit has accused Sony of abusing its dominant position in the console market and artificially inflating, see, like inflation, yeah, of course it's artificial. Mm, it is, trust me. Prices of software on the PlayStation Store. Yeah. A Dutch class action lawsuit has accused Sony of abusing its dominant position in the console market and artificially inflating prices of software. The case filed in the Netherlands by non-profit firm Stichten, Mastershade, and Consument claims it's acting on the behalf of 1.7 million Dutch players. It essentially argues that the PlayStation 5 generation, the Japanese giant, has pushed players into a digital only ecosystem where it has a monopoly on the sale of software through the PlayStation Store. Mm-hmm. But Nintendo is the worst, though. It's worth noting that at this point, that while digital only consoles have become more prevalent over the past few years, grew really fast though, because that's what they were pushing and it worked. And that's what mostly everybody agreed with. Space efficiency and all that too, not hoarding. It's still possible, depends how you look at it, possible to purchase a PS5 with a disc drive. But then they launched the digital only version, which was a good deal though. But as I was trying to tell people, that doesn't exist in the Nintendo world. It's always physical, no matter what. Even in the Switch Lite, all of that. They preserved it, you know what I mean? So but then people want to argue with you, and that's why I say that they're hypocrites, because I'm like, I can tell. Remember what I said, guys, it's been worse on the other platforms for a long time. Where was I lying at? You see what I mean? No, AGN just spits facts. So it's worth noting at this point, while digital only consoles have become more prevalent over the past few years, it's still possible to purchase a PS5 with a disc drive. So you see, the aspect of this appearing digital only means against physical. Do you know what I mean? So like I said, all that stuff is hypocritical. Now you guys are starting to feel what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, I can cover it, but I'm going to tell you that that's what that is. So all that nitpicking, just insecure fanboys. Many people have noticed they're increasingly being pushed towards digital-only consoles, which I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want people being hypocrites about it, while something else is actually always 100% preserving that, and it's never did that. We're going to get to some more keycard stuff down the line because they actually did a response on that. So you know what? We're going to get into that. I think that's going to be interesting. Since the arrival of the latest PS5 generation, the consoles work exclusively with digital games rather than physical discs. It's been a thing on PC. Everything has, you know what I mean? And now they're just pushing like that to get closer to that because that's what they're now. That's what they are now. You're going to see that. Yet, economic research shows that consumers pay on average 47% more for a digital version of a game compared to an identical physical copy. Yeah, because they don't have to give something to Best Buy, to Target, to Walmart. They get 100%. Pure profit, whoever is they're sharing it between. You see what I mean? They don't have to worry about any of that. Of course, pure profit. Why would they not push for that? And of course, why would the majority of people not want to have more space around themselves? and not be hoarders. You know what I mean? But for people who do enjoy that, I'm not beating it down, by the way. I'm saying just a general population, most likely, which is what you see why digital is that big, knows that it's so much easier to just never move and get something without having to deal with all the traffic, all that annoying stuff, and you know, what I mean, worrying about a disk and all that. No, it's just all right there, and you just keep carrying it over, and you'll be fine. Nothing's ever gonna go offline for like no year and be gone, and all that other stuff to me is just nothing but fear of something that has never happened. See, fear appearing to be real, but it's not. So, in addition to impacting customers, the lawsuit argues Sony's closed ecosystem is limiting the commercial freedom of developers. See, this is live oppression. This is something that matters. More than 80% of them. So, actually, I don't even need this at the moment. Okay. So what it says right here, the lawsuit argues that Sony's closed ecosystem is limiting the commercial freedom of developers. As far as we understand it, indie devs and third-party publishers are free to price their products as they please. Although planning discounts must be aligned um, with promotional campaigns on the PlayStation Store. Either way, basically what these guys says is they're seeking damages done to the Netherlands because they feel like they've been taken advantage of. And there's going to be a hearing set to take place later this month. So let's go back over here, guys, because this is where things get even more interesting too. This is not the first time this happened. You could just type in Sony lawsuit and this will pull up. Sony is facing multiple lawsuits primarily centered around its digital game sales practice on the PlayStation platform. I told you guys a while ago, Amazon used to sell PlayStation Plus. Sony used to be more pro-consumer about online, definitely in the PS3 era. In the PS4 era, they're a little bit light about it. But over time, they just became more increasingly greedy. And they followed too much of Microsoft's practices, but took it two ways to where it's like, yeah, why are you doing all that with that? Because all that started with the 360 and the Xbox, you know what I mean? But we get to where it's at now. It's just like it's just gotten so bad, it's not even funny. But it doesn't surprise me because look how much Apple has jacked their prices up over the last decade and a half. That's why I tell people, you complain about these prices of people that are paid double that for an iPhone 2 times a damn year. And they keep jacking the price up and they keep paying. You're crying about 50. Dude, they've jacked it $3, $4, $5, $600 more than it used to be compared to before. Oh, yeah, they're still paying twice a year, not even every 5 to 6 years like a console. Man, I'm telling you, I can tell you guys stuff where the anti-consumer behavior is so bad, but the fans don't give a fuck, and it's still 200, 300 million every year. It's like, what? Oh, yeah, man. Spellcasting is that bad. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so yeah, right here. Sony is facing multiple lawsuits, primarily centered around its digital game sales practice on the PlayStation platform. These lawsuits allege that Sony's control over the PlayStation Store allows it to charge excessive prices for digital games and in-game content. Yeah, there's no discounts online where you get CD keys and all that other stuff like you could with Microsoft. With Sony, they took that all out, and now it can only ever be when they put a sale on it is when you get a deal on the PlayStation Store, whatever region you're in. And you don't see other regions or pay attention to them, so you probably wouldn't notice this type of stuff. But they manipulate in a lot of other areas. And they're saying right here, antitrust concerns and monopolization. See, they both do it. Dutch class action. A Dutch consumer foundation is suing Sony, and we just read that, right? Now let's go down here. U.S. antitrust lawsuit. In the U.S., a close action lawsuit, right here, Candeas versus Sony Interactive Entertainment, alleges that Sony monopolizes the digital game market, leading to overcharges for digital games and in-game content. 30% commission. The lawsuit points to Sony's 30% commission on digital game sales through the PlayStation Store, which they argue contribute to inflated prices. What's a vampire system? And I'm not joking. And that's what it's designed to massively feed them and take everything from you, and they'll decide what they want to give you. Oh yeah, that's how all the richest people work. Upside down and backwards. Closed ecosystems. The lawsuits also highlight Sony's control over the PlayStation Store and its restriction of third-party retailers, effectively locking users into its ecosystem and limiting competition, according to a Dutch consumer foundation. Yeah, they're very good with doing that. Pacific allegations, high prices for digital games. The lawsuit claims that digital versions of games are significantly more expensive than physical copies, even though digital distribution eliminates the cost of physical production, packaging, and shipping. I'm gonna have to agree with them on that. Anybody that does that, yeah, that they're clearly doing that on purpose. So it's like Mario Kart should have been 70 digital. Hmm. Limited competition. By controlling the PlayStation Store, Sony allegedly limits competition and allows it to set prices without any restrictions. Exploitation of consumer and developers. Look at all these lawsuits. The lawsuits argue that Sony practices harm both consumers through higher prices and game developers by limiting their commercial freedom. Other lawsuits in the UK. In the UK, consumer advocate Alex Neil launched a similar legal claim in 2022, alleging that Sony's 30% commission on digital sales is unfair. Valve lawsuit. A similar lawsuit has also been filed against Valve in the UK, alleging similar anti-competitive practices relating to digital games. Oh yeah, they all do it. That's why I tell people, don't be hypocrites. Trust me, all of them do it. I mean, they're a digital-only platform. They don't develop games for you anymore. They just make a bunch of money. I don't like that. Imagine Nintendo just doing that. That's why I said they sit there and make games for you all day, every single year. They never missed a year in gaming history. Shit's incredible, man. Like, and these people just sit here, get fat, and make money. You know what I mean? And they don't make anything for you. They'll just buy, though. You know what I mean? Like, not the same, bro. Oh no, no. It's the game of the insides, and there's a difference. That's as real as it's gonna get. So we see these lawsuits. We see what Sony's been doing. That's why some people, if they had just as much money as Microsoft, it's not that they would monopolize more. No, they would extremely money hat the whole entire industry and have that all in their service. That's what they would do instead of more in-house. Though they would buy too, but I think you guys get what I mean. That would be what Sony would do. Oh man, funny. And then paying people to stay, money had it. Isn't that funny when you think about that point of view? It's kind of humorous, right? There's something comedic about that. So, yeah, let me know what y'all think about this. All right. Damn, Sony. So we got new leadership, right? Let's see if it gets better. Yeah, we'll find out. I don't know. So far from what I'm seeing, um, yeah, I don't know. We need more time for that because you need at least a year or two to see what they're going to do. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about these lawsuits and going all the way back to this PR statement to keep the proposition interesting. Oh yeah, what happened the next day? Shut up, Sony. Later, y'all. Ponies. Told you vacation's over with. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, not just PlayStation stuff. Later, y'all.